All right, we are live. Welcome back again to JP's Budget Collecting. Just an hour later, and once again, my guests are the boy who had seven. Matt, say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Love this show. Glad to be back on it. It's been a hot minute. Well, here we are again.
Yes, we have been a little delayed on our collecting smart videos because between myself and then having some stuff going on, and then Matt remodeling and redoing his whole comic room and his whole house for that matter.
Yep.
And we have been a little delayed on a collecting smart, but we are back. And tonight we have another frequent visitor on my channel, Comic Books NYC. What's going on, Kavi?
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm crashing the party tonight, I guess. I mean, I just hopped on earlier for your Grail reveal, and I was like, you know what? I'll just stick around. So
Man,
thanks for having me back.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome that you decided to stay. I think you'll have some insights into our subject tonight. So, looks like before we get too far along, let's see who else in the chat. Comic Dude, but that was like 30 minutes ago, so I don't know if he's still here. Biggie Shack was in the house. What's going on, Biggie? Big Will.
Big Will.
Big Will has arrived. Sam I Am Comics. What's going on, Sam? Hey, Perry. Unruly Simeon, who I don't know if I've ever went live and Unruly hasn't dropped in. It's amazing. Unruly, I appreciate it, man. And speaking of appreciation, I just want to say I didn't even notice this because I was excited for my earlier video. I went over 350 today in subs, which was like I had to jump 10 today because I was like at 340 yesterday. So that is awesome. Thank you, everyone, for subbing up my channel. I really appreciate it. So tonight's subject is camera is over here now. We're going to be talking about so you got your Grail, or you achieved a major collecting goal. What do you do now? And the reason I wanted to do this tonight was, if you guys watched my earlier live stream, I picked up this bad boy today. And this is, for me, maybe not necessarily in terms of value, but in terms of meaning and value, maybe the biggest Grail I can realistically ever achieve. There's some debate on that probably in my own mind, but it's close. Because most of my other favorite characters, first appearances, I can't touch. So for me, this is a huge, huge book. Not that it wouldn't be a big book for anybody, but for me, it's a really huge book. So now what? Where do I go from here? I pretty much spent what I had saved up as a comic budget on this.
Blown.
So now, and so I want to just talk about that as a subject. I hope to get some insight from everybody in the chat. I see Timmy, the Canadian comic hunter, jumped in. What's going on, Timmy? So first of all, I want to talk to you guys, just each of you, like, have you had recently, like, have you achieved like a major goal that kind of changed the way you collected or made you reevaluate the way you collected recently? Or is there a goal you're seeking right now that might ultimately change the way you collect? Let's start with you, Matt.
Yeah, man. So I have a list that I put out at the beginning or the end of the previous year for the next year, right? So I've got my 2019 wish list. And I have that so it gives me focus and direction. I kind of look at why I want them and what they're going to cost me. And I try to put a list together with my budget. And then once I get that list together and my budget, I work towards it. And this year I started out with Amazing Fantasy 15 and Fantastic Four #1. But those just, when I had the money in hand after selling my mystery boxes, I thought, okay, I could spend all this money on this one book. And it was really hard. And so right there, I had to stop myself because I could have had my Grail, that AF-15, which Spider-Man's my favorite character ever. So that's what I wanted. But it just felt so wrong spending so much money on one book and my whole budget blown for the entire year that I pulled it back and I decided to go off of some smaller books. And so I changed my 2019 want list. And so I've been getting them slowly and collecting them. And I haven't finished for the year. So I haven't, like you got your Grail and you achieved it, which was beautiful and amazing. And so what I think for myself is when I get to that point, now it's on to the next one, man. You know, I know you've got a list of books that you want. And so I know that hopefully this year I'll be able to achieve and get everything I want, and then reevaluate at the end of the year, look at my list and say, okay, this is what I want to go after. But I do know that it's changed though. Like all year long, it keeps changing and changing and changing. And so it's kind of hard to keep that focus and direction. But that list really helps. And of course, you got to look at your budget. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I did 6 DC books and 6 Marvel books. And I've picked up 5 of the DC books on my want list and 4 of the Marvel books. And so those last 3 are going to be really like tough to get because I got to find them in the perfect grade. And depending if I spend a little more money or not, I may have to just take a break, you know?
Wait, you're particular about grade? Sorry,
just a little bit.
What about you, Bobby? What is the, from a collecting perspective? I know the house thing kind of changed your collecting this year, but
yeah, if we're talking specifically about this year, I also put out a video or whatever, and I wrote down like these are the books I want to try to get this year and all that, and I put that out in like January or something, or maybe even December of last year for what I wanted to try to target this year. And then about 2 months ago, I kind of did another video where I was coming out and just being like, yo, I screwed up on my list. I didn't really think it through based on everything that was going on for me, outside of just being a collector this year, right? So from that perspective, I'll take a step back and answer the question like this. What you do next after you get a major grail, whether it's people consider it a holy grail or it's just a really big book and it's your grail, right? I like to, and Matt just sort of alluded to it, is I like to take a little break. And I've done this throughout my, quote unquote collecting historically, is that typically when I get a bigger book or a grail book, I do a reassessment of my current collection, and sort of look at what I have and where I want to go now that I have this book, right? And I'll give you an example. So I do have Amazing Fantasy 15, and I achieved that book, and I took a break at the time, you know what I mean, and sort of looked back on my collection, and I did some thinning of the herd in the months preceding that, or following. Is preceding or following? Following that.
Yep.
And decided that I wanted to try to start collecting Golden Age. Right. It took that little break for me after I achieved that Grail book. Like I thought that was going to be possibly the last book I ever got. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I have this Grail now, but am I done? Am I going to keep collecting? So I did just take a break at that time. And then I started exploring other areas of collecting, whether it's Golden Age books or, eventually also I made the same decision about trying to experiment with original art. So for me, taking a break, regardless of the size of the book or what it does to your budget, as a ratio of what your particular budget is, I think taking a break, taking a step back, reassessing what you have in your collection and what you want to collect, because I had books that in hindsight, I didn't necessarily care too much about those characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like there were certain books that I had, in my collection where I really, when I thought hard about it, I'm like, this doesn't belong, because it may be a hot book for other comic book collectors, but it's not a book that belongs in my comic book collection based on what I want to collect and who I am as a collector and what my collecting goals are now. So for me, that's a continually evolving process that I still am undergoing to this day. Like I stopped buying. You alluded to my other goals for this year, which was to buy my own place. I've never had my own place, and so my whole life switched to that being my number one financial goal. And I stopped buying books anything major. From January to this month. This month I finally broke my buying streak again, and I put out a haul video this past weekend, and I finally got some books after 6 months of no books because yeah, it was hard, man.
That's
Honestly,
gotta be tough.
like I mean, there were some books in there. Okay, not completely no books. Like I still went to the comic book shop on Wednesdays
Yeah.
to get my reads and stuff. But no like major purchase books, or no major pieces of art or anything like that for a good 6 months. So it just depends on where I am in particular as a collector at any given moment, and also everything else that's happening in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see that John mentioned that in the chat. Examining your books is important, and that's kind of where I'm at. I think now that I have achieved this book, A, for budgetary reasons, I'm going to be kind of forced into a break for a little bit, but B, I do want to kind of reevaluate this list and think about what my really next goal is and make sure I kind of take the right approach. And I think I feel like that's a fairly common approach. We talked about earlier, Thanatos was back today. He made a video, but after he upgraded his copy of the first appearance of Hal Jordan, the cat just is making laps again. He took a break. He took a break from YouTube. He took a break from collecting. And I think it's healthy. I think it's important sometimes to just take a step back. Like you've achieved something, appreciate that you've gotten this goal, and don't just like immediately, at least for me, don't just immediately like, now I got to get this.
Yeah.
Like appreciate what you've achieved, where you've gotten. I think that goes for like not just collecting, but anything. Like appreciate the fact that you made this big step to a new house.
It's also like a key it's kind of a pivotal moment where you can sort of pivot to either experimenting with other types of things, other types of collectibles, or just frankly just getting caught up on actual reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like in that little 6-month hiatus of where I wasn't buying any seriously big books, I was reading like way more than I ever have. Like whether it was the Marvel Unlimited app or the DC app or some trade paperbacks or weekly New Comic Book Day stuff. I kind of shifted focus to like making sure that I read all the stories I want to read. I'm still not there. I still have hundreds of stories that I want to read that I haven't read, but that was a big piece of me like resisting temptation for 5 or 6 months. So
yeah, I kind of find that I like to have my budget set, and I like to have an idea of books I'd like to have. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I get on eBay, I look at a ton of books that I would love to own one day. And I find the best quality book that I want, the perfect wrap, perfect white, whatever, right? And then I find the best price out of those books. And then I kind of just put it in my watching list. And so I'm always watching, and over time, it'll be months, and I'll look at that book again in a couple months and see the one that I saved, if the price has gone down, gone up. And so I'm always kind of on eBay looking at stuff. And because I have a budget, there's sometimes when books just pop up and I'm like, oh, I didn't think I could own a Strange Tales 110. I thought that was a long way away. But for some reason, the prices have been dropping recently, and boom, I got my budget. It's a good price I'm comfortable with. I'm going to get it, And so I think if you kind of find, you just set your budget and be smart. And like Big Will said, know what books you want. Have a list, be looking through it. Every once in a while, your budget works, the book that you want works, you get it, And as you get them, you kind of just, like you said, reevaluate what you got. I like the way this is going. So right now, I really like the way my collection is going. It's a mixture of some big keys and a lot of modern books in 9.8, And I'm happy to get those because I flipped a few and made quite a bit of money.
Right. Like for me, I decided that there were certain Silver Age keys I wanted and certain Silver Age keys I don't need. Like I don't have a Strange Tales 110. I'm not a big enough Doctor Strange fan.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the urgency to just go out and get that book.
Yeah.
Just because it's undervalued, or because it is undervalued in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is.
one of the, it's
It is.
it's not quote unquote affordable, but it's still on the lower end of the major Silver
Like
Age
Daredevil.
Marvel. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Daredevil 1, and I just same thing with that book. I don't have that book. I originally had it on the list, but then I cut it from the list when I reevaluated because I thought hard enough about what Daredevil means to me,
Yeah.
and it's not at the Spider-Man and Batman level for me. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
You gotta evaluate like where you want to go.
Yeah, you see, Big Will talks in the said in chat. You got to figure out why you want a certain book. What are you wanting it for? Is it because of the character, personal collection? Are you speculating? Are you investing? You got to like really think about what you want. And Biggie also mentions after he got his Grail, Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1, it took him like 3 months to figure out what his next goal was.
Right.
And I think taking a
Did you pause? Yeah, froze there a little bit on me. I don't
step
know.
back. Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it
For
in
like
the
2 seconds.
feed.
You're good now.
Oh no, I did. Yeah, in the feed there it is. But so now Matt, you talked about one thing we've talked about before is you made a major change though last year, kind of in the way you collected when you sold a lot of those books.
Oh yeah.
So why don't you talk about that decision process a little bit?
Yeah. So I had two things that helped me make that decision. One was space. Like for those of you guys watching that don't know, I have 7 kids, and so this is a house full of 9 people, and there's not much space. I mean, my wife gave me this little nook, and that's it. So once I run out of space, there's nowhere my books can go. So I thought, okay, I need to save on space, and then I kept thinking, I really want some Grails. I really want to get some Holy Grails, books that like I want the first Justice League. I love the Justice League. I absolutely love the Justice League and I want that book, but there's no way I can afford it. So I got 1/3, 2/3 of my collection, went through it, and I said I can part with these books.
Yeah.
I can focus that money on that Justice League number, Brave and Bold 28.
Right.
So
some of my biggest grails involved cash and trade scenarios wherein that I was, where I used Bronze Age Grail books that other people really, really want, like, some X-Men books or some Punish, like ASM 129, things like that. And, because it's, whether you sell a book outright or you utilize the book as an asset as part of trade to get, it's the same concept.
absolutely.
And that's sort of the way I roll with it as well. Every time I reassess my collection, I separate books into a for sale pile, into a possible trade at a con pile, into a let's keep pile, basically.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things. So it's good to be organized about that. Like it's not so much that you have to be doing it every single day, but like a couple times a year.
Yeah. And like tonight's show is perfect. Like you get a Grail. That's the moment when you have a chance to say, okay, am I happy with my collection? I just achieved this. How does it feel? Am I content? Do I want more? And am I realizing, whoa, I need to pump those brakes? I just spent some money. I mean, but you can evaluate at that point. And I did last year. I got a Grail that I had been wanting for a long time, and I was like, oh, this feels so good. I want another one.
Yeah.
So I decided to go into my raw books and get rid of a lot of stuff that I loved, but I was okay with parting because I could get another Grail.
Absolutely.
So what was that book? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, it was Showcase number 22.
Nice.
So, I mean, and I got it, and the guy gave it to me about 1,000 under what was going on eBay sold page.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this book, and I want some more. So, and that's the thing. Like even that book, I still want to get it a little higher grade, And
yeah, so, upgrading's a whole nother thing.
It is
where there's a feeling of you got your Grail, but there's always the feeling of, well, what if I got it at a higher grade, or what if I, or maybe I can get a better copy of this book because this book does mean that much to me that it's, I'm not done with this quest. You know what I mean? You're not done with your Showcase 22 quest, you wanna upgrade it at some point.
And it's really changed this year too. Like you said, you've been reading more. When I started that show, Willpower Unleashed with Thanatos, and I started reading the Jeff Johns run, like I had never even seen it before.
Right.
And I started reading it, and I think Green Lantern went from like top 20 to like top 5. Like I love that character now deeply, you know. And so now, like that book was great at a 3.0, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a 5.5. You know what I mean? Like, but it could take some work to get there.
Yeah.
So,
real quick, I'm going to shout out the chat, but first, I'm going to point out Rob Worst's comment that he just got back-to-back Batman 232, Tech 359, Iron Man 55, Action 42. Like, dang, that's a run.
Yeah.
That is a run. Congratulations, Rob. He says he's taking a break now.
Shout out to him. He just put his first YouTube video up, I think, yesterday. I watched it this morning.
Oh, really?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, you guys sub him up.
I got to see if I'm subbed to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, otherwise, in the chat, we got...
No, I'm not, but I'm about to be. There you go.
Yeah.
Subbed them up.
Unruly, Biggie Shack, Bear Island dropped in. Thank you, man. Count Von Strange, how's it going? Rob Works, Big Will's still here. J Hood Creative. We talked to John. Comics with Kids. Bake the Snake dropped in earlier. I think that's everybody. I think I've shouted out everybody either now or earlier. So, yeah, I need to actually, I'm going to do that right now. I don't think I've subbed to Rob Worst.
Yeah.
No, I am. Okay. I couldn't remember. So I will have to check out his video.
Yeah, you just subbed him.
So what is, all right. I've grabbed so what is on your guys' list right now? Where are you guys going? I know, Matt, you just grabbed that. You were talking about the Justice League a minute ago. You just grabbed that book.
Yeah. Got it. Last month.
Yeah.
I had it sitting in my house in a box like a month and a half while we were doing the remodeling. And it took everything in my power not to open it. And then I finally opened it on somebody else's show the other day. And I'm like, so I'm going to be doing like a big video opening up, talking about it a bit. Cause it's a big book for me, man.
Yeah.
So, but,
it's interesting, man. I did that whole reassessment of what I thought my 2019 goals should be after I had a 2019 goal list that I made in 2018, and now 2 months removed from the video where I tore down my 2019 goal list and made it a smaller list. I'm feeling like, that I have to maybe go back and watch that video and see if that still holds true, because now I'm moved in my new place. I've seen the financial impact of my bank account literally disappearing because I bought the place. And like there's some things to think about. Like I just bought my first Golden Age Joker cover, Detective Comics 109. I did an unboxing video on my channel over the weekend. And that was it wasn't a crazy expensive book, but it was pretty, it was enough money to make me seriously consider, should I do this or not? But I know that my collecting focus right now is Golden Age Batman. So whether it's Detective Comics or Batman main title, Golden Age Batman is sort of the little corner of the comic book collecting universe that I feel the most passionate about collecting right now.
Right.
That said, when it comes to Spider-Man, I spent so much time saving up and creating, assets to be able to get the first appearance that I didn't spend a ton of time buying the rest of the ASM run. Like I don't have a full ASM run, right? I'm not saying I necessarily want a full ASM run either, but I do think, Silver Age ASM is another area that I would like to focus in my collection. I just need to sort of prioritize exactly which book I need to go after first, when I can afford to do it, at what grade can I, whether it's, the first Green Goblin or Doc Ock or whatever. All of these books are expensive. You know what I mean? So, and all of them especially once you're talking about, mid grade and up, are crazy. So I'm probably looking at low grade for all these,
Yeah.
and not anytime soon. I just need to figure out for me, like, okay, is it my goal by the end of the year to add one major Silver Age ASM key book, and that's a possibly a realistic goal,
Yeah.
but I don't quite know yet, because I also, I get sidetracked by going after Golden Age Batman books
Yeah.
that aren't necessarily major keys, but they're so cool to
They
me.
call you.
Yeah, they call my name, right? So I don't know. It's tough, man. I mean, it's, those are the two areas that I know are always kind of bubbling around up there, but they're not easy to get.
A lesson I learned the hard way was not having money when the book that I wanted in the perfect condition was available.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you two things that happened. Fantastic Four 48, 2 years ago. I found a 9.0 white pages. I really wanted that to match with some of my other FF books. And because I have a 9.0 white pages, so I thought, okay, I'm going to keep it like that. And 2 years ago, I saw it on eBay for $1,900. And that's a lot of money, for a book. And I just didn't have it all right then and there. So I sold some books, did some things, finally got it, put it in my cart, went to press pay, and somebody literally bought it within 5 seconds before I did. And I lost it. Same book from the guy that bought it, I think, presumably. Sold it maybe a week, 2 ago. I was looking at it for $8,500 or $8,600. 2 years, man. The book went from $1,900 to selling it to $8,600, and it gut punched me, man. And I was in there. I had the money. I was ready. I pressed pay, and it's like, this item's no longer available.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no.
Yeah.
Second one, on Instagram, I saw a book that's on my list this year that I haven't been able to find, is Avengers 4, 7.5 white pages. That's right what I want to get it at, And I'm really going for those white pages, and I just can't find any more, and this white kills me. But it was available. I didn't have the money. It sold by the time I got the money. I messaged the guys like, dude, I sold it like a week ago. And I was like, no. So I made up my mind that I'm going to always have my budget, and I'm always going to leave that cushion there. I'm not going to spend to the max in case those books that I really want become available. Because then I'm going to lose out on, especially that FF 48, from $1,900 to $8,600. It's insane.
That's insane.
And I missed out on that because of all the speculation of Silver Surfer and Galactus showing up in the MCU.
I pick, like books like that, books like that, books like, giant size X-Men number. Like, I think I paid $400 something for my 7.5 giant size X-Men number 1,
and then it hit. Wow,
crazy. Yeah, like I couldn't even believe like how much that book is, like, percentage wise. Maybe it may not have the same dollar value as FF48, like in an equivalent grade, but like percentage of like growth, it's insane.
It is
the way that
it's been crazy.
Speculation drives the market.
Yeah. So, I mean, now like I said, I just leave that cushion. I never spend to the max. I always have a little bit. And you asked earlier what books I'm looking for. It's still Avengers 4, Avengers 1, and the last DC book I need this year is Flash 139, first Eobard Thawne.
Nice.
Reverse Flash.
I don't have any of those books. Love those books.
Those are the 3 I'm looking for, man.
Those are all super nice books.
Yeah. So,
I want to shout out Comics Mr. Explain jumped in. I think that's the only new person recently. Hey, what's going on, man? But you did talk about earlier, Matt, that FF1, AF15 are like your holy grails. So do you see yourself, once you get a few more of these books, other keys, shifting back to that? Is that still your long-term goal, where are you at?
So I fall in love with Spider-Man more and more, man. I do. And he is literally my favorite character ever. So, and Batman's like him and Batman right there, man. But unless I'm a millionaire one of these days, which I hope so.
Yeah, that
would be nice.
I hope all of us are.
Nice.
but there's no way I'm gonna ever get a Tech 27.
Yeah.
So but the AF-15 is close enough to where I can budget and sell some things and I could get it. So I thought this year,
even Batman 1 is like kind of out of reach now.
Yeah, it really is, man. Like, so I thought,
and that's why I've been talking to DS Comics, you know, my
Yep.
partner in Golden Age Crime, that, you know, Batman 2 is one of the books that I'm seeking because it's the second Catwoman, second Joker. It's not the second Batman, obviously, because you have Tech 27 and
Yeah.
Tech 29, I think, is the second. But it's kind of the highest that I can try to achieve possibly.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna look into it now.
Yeah, sorry, shit, I just screwed myself. I mean, Batman 1 in a 1.0 restored on eBay, guys asking right now $3K. And I want better than a 1.0 restored, you know. I want like a slightly higher.
If you're
and I
spending
want and I want a blue label if I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy it slabbed.
But that's isn't that like in the tens of thousands once you go there?
Once you go there, you're talking about like 5K, 6K and up. It just depends on the specifics of the copy.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is, there's only like 2 available on eBay right now. It's not like you can. It's not like, you know, a giant size X-Men #1. You go type that into eBay and you see, you know, 20 at least listings. You know, it's so. When it comes to the scarcer books, not even necessarily the scarcer books, but like the Golden Age books that are superhero, that are in demand, but there's not, you know, thousands of copies on the census. There's like 88 copies or 100 copies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're talking about a small pool of books. You're talking about a small pool of collectors.
Yeah.
You're talking about guys that are holding on to those books for dear life, and they're not letting them go. So when you see them come up, you really have to seriously consider, okay, like 3K for a 1.0 restored, like that's the decision right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I haven't made that decision because I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
you know,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of decided. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, yeah. That was for me, like, why this book was kind of so important to me and why it made it to the top of my list and became as big a priority as it was, is because so many of the books, or so many of the characters that are my favorites, those books are just not touchable for me. And even if they were, wouldn't be smart. I mean, like, you know, Tech 27 and Batman 1 and Tech 38, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, and AF-15, those books are just like not something that's realistic.
Yeah.
And whereas this was a book that it was a book I could achieve. And I think having that realistic, yet I had to push myself to get there, but still it was a realistic goal. And that's something that I got to keep going forward, is thinking about what makes sense for me, what like is something I can achieve and yet still have not have to sacrifice everything to get to. And from a budgetary standpoint, for me, that's really important, is thinking it through.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
And not have to like gut everything else I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to go on pause, but I don't have to like sell a bunch of books and do everything to achieve this.
Yeah.
And to me, that was kind of important.
Yeah. Last year, earlier this year, when I sold my mystery boxes and a couple other books, I had a good chunk of change, man. Like a really good amount, plus my yearly budget. And so I thought, okay, I looked on eBay and I was super serious about buying that AF-15. And the grade I wanted at the price I wanted was like at 22 grand. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, that I can't do that. I can't. Yeah, you know, and it's like, but it's over too. Like if I get that, I have an amazing book, right?
Right.
But that's it for the entire year. Like I even was gonna have to cut off my pull lists and everything. Like you just said, I'd have to cut everything off, and that was the one book I got for an entire year. And I couldn't do it. You know, it's just too much. I couldn't do it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because those prices have gone down. I don't know if you've noticed, but the trend has been a little bit downwards. So
No, I don't. That's not one I track because I don't know. That's not one I track. I know where. Let me. It's above a certain threshold. I don't worry about
You're just like, that's over there.
it. It's like,
I mean, I look all the time, man, because that's a book I still want.
right.
And, that book at that grade is dropped probably about $6,000. I've seen a few of them on eBay going, for about 18 instead of 22, 17, 16 even. So I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of money for a comic book. It's a lot of money, and I get it. It's an investment. I could turn around if I need to and sell it,
Right.
And if I hold it for 10, 20 years, I'm going to definitely have some more money. But, okay, just let them in and be quiet. But I mean, it just couldn't do it. That was it, And I'm happy, man. If I show you all the books that I took that money with and purchased instead, man, I don't think you guys have seen 2/4, half of, not even, I mean, half of what I've got,
Yeah.
So I'm happy. I'm really, really happy, man. Tons of small keys, a bunch of grails. So.
Sorry, catch me up, guys. Sorry, I had an unexpected visitor ring the doorbell and show up at like 10 o'clock. So that was weird. But
is someone you knew or no?
yeah, someone someone from the what's it called, like the maintenance company or whatever that I'm dealing with for my floor issue.
Sure.
Oh yeah, there's always something in the
visitors.
house.
I have some visitors here too, so my daughter just let them in. So I'm like, "Where's my wife?" But no, we were talking about me spending a bunch of money on AF-15, and I decided not to, and I got a whole bunch of great books, man.
Right. Yeah, I remember you debating which way to go with that and Fantastic Four #1.
Yeah.
For this year.
Yeah. And I mean, I talked to a lot of you guys about it, and that's why you remember that, because I'm like, guys, I need help, like one book or like 500. You know what I mean? Like, not really, but it's just that book is so crazy.
Yeah.
And this guy's just chilling there, cool with it over his right shoulder, man.
Oh, that one. Even this one, I had to like.
Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, just sitting there, no big deal.
That's awesome.
So, one of the things though, like for me, like I know you're very specific about your grade choices, Matt, and like
I am.
Kavi's a little more flexible, I think maybe.
I'm all over the place. I'm so much all over the place that you could even consider me a high-end, low-grade collector, meaning that I collect books that have a lot of collectability and/or value, but at low grades.
Yeah,
right.
I do not collect modern 9.8s outside of the Saga title because it's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah,
and it's the book that got me back into comic book reading and comic book collecting back when it was coming out. And it captured my attention. But outside of that, and a couple modern books that I have in 9.8, I'm not really a huge modern high grade kind of guy, or a really high grade guy in general.
Yeah,
doesn't really matter to me. So yeah.
It's to a certain degree it's necessity. I like to maximize what I think I can afford on grade wise, but yet I am not. Partially because I can't afford that premium and we've talked about the premium of 9.8 versus 9.6 before. Matt and I have on one of these.
Yeah.
So you guys should go check it back out if you want to see that. But
good show.
Yeah, on this one, I ended up settling for a 4. And it basically, because the 4 ended up being the sweet spot of condition and price that I could afford. My original goal was like a 5 or 6. And they just kind of kept creeping to the point. And it was like, I can't justify the difference in appearance from a 4 to a 5 for another $280.
Right.
And
there's been situations like that where I'm tracking a certain book at like a 5.0 or a 4.0, and the market is rallying on that book. And by rallying, I mean like in the last month, there's like at least 5 sales, that show upward movement, right? Upward trajectory in the market price. And in that scenario, a lot of times I look for a raw book, because that's the one part, like that's the one way to still maintain the graded price from 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and possibly get the same grade. It's a risk, yeah, absolutely, because then you're buying a raw book, then you have to possibly pay someone to press it and clean it if you can't do that yourself, which I don't do that myself.
Me neither.
And then you have to pay for it to get graded, and you have to have the book outside of your possession and all that.
Yeah.
And it's 50-50 whether.
Yeah, it's a gamble.
It's 50-50, absolutely, whether or depending upon your knowledge of raw books and your experience in grading books, it could be less than 50-50.
Yep.
You know what I mean? For me, it's been about 50-50. There's been times where I bought a raw book, got it pressed and cleaned, and I thought I was getting it for the 5.0 graded price, but it came back a 3.0 or a 3.5 or whatever. And then there's been other times where it's come back at a 5.0 or a 5.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, especially on books like Giant Size X-Men #1 and whatnot, I would not be personally, if it were me, I'd be going after raw copies of those kind of books if that's your thing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily my thing, but it's just interesting.
It's a fun avenue too.
The market's just moving so quickly now, especially the last 2 years.
Yeah, I do think that if you feel confident in your ability to grade and judge books, going after raw books is probably where your value is at on some of these books.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a hard, I can tell upper end stuff, but when I get into that 3 to 6 range, even 7, it's I have a hard time telling those books apart, and it's just because I haven't done it enough. I don't understand the grading enough. I'm just not. That's not a skill I've attained yet.
Right.
I do want to shout out Lady Fantastic has jumped into the chat, and if you guys have not checked out her channel, you should. She puts out a lot of great stuff. So,
Lady Fantastic.
Hey, Lady Fantastic.
I've never seen her before. I'm a sub right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm already subscribed to her. Great.
Yeah, she's been showing up a lot in the chats here recently, so you should definitely check out her stuff, man. She does a good job.
That FF52 is going to be on my want list for 2020.
There you go. She got good taste too. There you go. So,
good book.
Well, I don't know how much more I got. You guys, anything else you guys got on this subject you want to talk about, or anything? Other experiences? Anybody in the chat got any comments that they want to pitch in here that we maybe have missed in talking about, how to respond once you've got your Grail, and, and just planning around getting a Grail and that kind of stuff.
You know what, man? I want to point something out, because I like to be completely positive when I do stuff, because that's the kind of human being I am. But I've got some hate from some people of late, man.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'll get messages on I am, or even my YouTube channels, and they're like, "You're a 9/8 snob," and it's crazy.
I mean, you might hear that from me every once in a while, but it's all from.
No.
I love what I say.
No, man, I get that, but there are literally people that will talk smack to me, and they're angry about it.
That's super lame.
And it's hey, time out. One, it's comic books. If anything in my life happened where I needed to sell my comic books, every single one is expendable for my children, my family, and important things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but number 2 is I get those books because it's what I like to collect. It for me, I love the characters, and then once I get into collecting, that 9/8 is what draws me. That white pages, it's just what I like. But if somebody gets a 9/6 with white pages, man, I'm just as excited for them. You get that 4.0 on that Batman 3, 59 today. I am so stoked for you that you got that. There's never a point where I'm like, oh man, that's a crappy book because it's only this. It's just I see it. I've seen it a little bit of late, and it kind of like I was like stabbed in the heart. I'm like, dang, like time out, like.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make generalizations about people, but you know what it is, Matt? Like, I think for me, like when I see comments like that or negativity on the internet, like
Yeah.
nine times out of 10, it's because something's wrong with, something that person is going through something
Yeah.
in their life, and they're taking it out on whether it's you, somebody else on the internet, the comment section, whatever it is, Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I've been 100% like immune to that either. Not necessarily in the comic book community, but maybe in some other communities. But I hear you, dude. Like, there's no real, there's no reason for negativity in this hobby.
It's
like,
just silly. Everybody collects differently. Everybody wants different books. Everybody has different priorities. And the fact that I give you a hard time about being a 9/8 guy because it's fun.
No, I love it and continue to do it because I know you where it comes from.
Fun because part of me would love to be a 9/8 guy, but part of me is like, but that's the way you collect. That's what's important to you.
Yeah.
And then, did you see Bear though? He did apologize. Did you see Bear Island's comment?
Yeah, that cracked me up.
No, it's nobody in here. It was actually people I had never seen on my channel before.
Well, yeah, those people are.
You know how I got that huge, my first ever CGC unboxing video, and like I got some 9.6s, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
Like people, that video's had like 1,400 views now, and like
wow,
a lot of people are like, dude, you're an idiot. 9.6s are great, and I'm like, I know that, like I love that they're 9.6s, but if I was hoping for a 9.8,
well, I think it's different when you're sending in books to CGC and you're waiting months. And and there's like no information, and you're like, I finally got these, and I'm opening them live, or I'm just opening them in front of a camera. Like, it's different.
Yeah. No, I was waiting in anticipation, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be.
There's a video on my channel called Blind CGC Unboxing, hot modern variants and covers or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got all 9.8s except for 1.96, and I was really disappointed. And like you could audibly hear me on that video say like, "Damn it," and then it bothered me like the rest of the video. I was like negative about that 9.6, and and then afterwards I just felt so dumb. Like I was like, man, that really it's still a great book, So
no, the one that got the most hate though was when people thought I really thought I was going to get a 10.0 with that Star Wars book. And they came out 5, and they're like, "How dumb are you that you didn't know that it
Star
was
Wars number 1?"
Yeah.
This is one of my Grail books, Star Wars number 1.
Yeah, 35-cent variant, man.
Oh man.
Yeah. It is
Let me lock you on that for that.
But it's a 1.8, like I don't need it in a higher grade than a 1.8. It's such a rare, crazy Grail book to have.
Awesome. That book is amazing.
Yeah, I saw when you got that. I watched that video, man, or I think it was a live show when you showed it.
Yeah, it was like a birthday live stream back in January.
Cool, man. So cool.
That was the last book I bought before I took the 6 months off.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So that was the Grail book that led me into the break. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to like throw a wrench in here and everything, but
no, you're good, man.
Yeah, great. And it's like, come on, guys, like let's just be excited for each other, like let's lift each other up and get rid of that nonsense,
Yeah, you gotta watch those people that aren't. If you don't recognize the name, a lot of times those people aren't. I wouldn't worry about them. They're just trolling.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So, Gray Matter Hulk asked me where I was going next. And break more graded books, gonna get more books graded, or just hanging out till 2020. I locked it on MIC to see that Star Wars book. For me, and then I'll give you guys an opportunity if you want to chime in. I know Matt's kind of already said his 3, and you guys talked about it a little bit. For me, so I'll go back to, this was my kind of Grail level list for 2019. Those were the 4 books. Originally.
Good list, man. Good list.
And I probably won't even worry about any of these books for the rest of the year. I'm going to start trying to rebuild my little stash and go after one of those in probably 2020. I do have I have this list, which was my start of the year, like smaller books. Probably going to target maybe a couple of these the rest of the year, with this one where I narrowed down earlier, that Lois Lane 70 being probably the primary. Not sure for sure what else for that, but a little bit some smaller stuff, a little more, not quite as high value that I can get a copy at a grade I want. But mostly I'm going to one of the other things I'd like to do is there's a couple people I'd like to get some AOKs for. I would like to do just some other, just smaller things. Yeah. I think for the rest of the year, it's really going to be my focus.
Yeah.
If I get my nest egg built back up a little bit, I find the right deal, I might jump on something a little bigger. But for now, I'm just going to kind of just ease back a little bit. That's just where I'm at the moment. So what about you guys?
Go for it, NYC.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of alluded to it earlier. Long term, my goal is still going to be Silver Age ASM and Golden Age Batman related titles. But short term, just whatever floats my boat that I come across that I feel like is not going to make a serious dent in my budget right now, because I'm just now kind of dipping my feet back into the water of buying back issues and buying slabs and things like that, and I don't want to get too crazy too quickly while I'm still in the process of sort of saving again after having a major non-comic purchase.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys this little guy got his ribs broken?
No, what happened?
So July 4th, we let him outside to go use the restroom, and I've got 3 dogs outside. I don't know if you guys saw Crypto when he made his appearance on one of my shows. Did you guys see him? My big, huge white dog?
I don't know. I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that now. Yeah.
I got a big old Great Pyrenees, so when I tell him to get up on my shoulders, his face is like right where my face is. He's huge. All right? So this guy goes outside, and they get in a fight over food, and my Great Pyrenees grabs him around the back, picks him up, and shakes him. And this poor little guy broke 4 ribs, man.
Oh, man.
And so we were in the hospital all New Year's Day and Eve, and we got out at midnight with this guy and 4 broken ribs. So we've had him in the kennel and everything, and he's doing much better, man. But whew, it's freaky.
Yeah,
I thought I was gonna lose him for a little bit, but I was like, dude, the big dog called your bluff, bro.
yeah.
These Chihuahuas think they're bigger than they are, man. So, but anyway, no, I'm gonna go after. I'm really looking for that Avengers 1, Avengers 4, and that Flash book. I really want to get them by the end of the year. The problem is I've had the cash. I just haven't found the perfect copy.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I want that Avengers 4 white pages, and it's super rare.
Yeah.
So if I don't find it by the end of the year, the money will just go on over to next year's budget, and I'll keep
Silver
looking.
Age keys with white pages.
That's right.
Bro, I don't think I have a single Silver Age book with white pages.
Dude,
Yeah,
my X-Men 1. My X-Men 1 had white pages until I crossed it over to CGC and I lost it. And I was like, no. No, it's tough. It's a real tough thing, man. So I'm cool with off-white white when it comes to Silver Age too. Like, I'm totally cool with that. I have a couple books that I'm trying to sell to make some more money and get the budget higher, But that's really what I'm focused on right now. I like those modern keys. Like, I know we were talking about it earlier. I really like modern keys for 2 reasons. Spec. If those guys pop up in a movie or something, those books are going crazy. Like, there's a book I've never showed anybody that I own, but I own a Nova 1 9.8 white pages.
Nice.
And so maybe it was like at $700 a year ago, and now they're going for 14 to 18 because people are like, okay, what if Nova shows up in the MCU?
Yeah.
And so because Nova's not one of my favorite characters, that's a book I love owning. But if it shoots up and there's a possibility for me to make some money off of it and then go and buy something that I really love, that's kind of why I love having those modern 9.8s.
So I flip, more modern than Novel One, but like, I mean, like books that came out in the last like, less than a year to 2 years, like, where you can buy them cheap. If, 9 times out of 10, they'll grade at a 9.6 or a 9.8.
Yep.
And you'll be able to make some sort of profit on those kind of books. And I just use that money and I put it into other books.
Yeah. Oh man, I love those modern books, man.
Yeah.
Like I found when it was really hot, Naomi one. I went to Albuquerque on a YouTube trip. I was like, I'm gonna stop at every comic shop they have there. And the last day, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try one more because I had to cut it short. So I'm like, let me just go to one more before we go home to my wife. So I went to the shop and they had 5 in there. So at regular price, just cover price. So I was like, mine. And got on Instagram, sold each of them for $75. I kept 2 that I'm headed to CGC, and made some money, man.
Yeah.
And then turned that into something else. So I don't know. That's kind of why I do it. Plus, the big thing is there's a lot of 90s keys that I own, and that's because they mean everything to me. Right. Like I was reading comic books when Infinity Gauntlet, Death of Superman, Venom, Carnage, like all these characters were huge, and these were the stories of my youth, Ghost Rider. Mm-hmm. And so like when I see those books in a 9.8 white pages at a great price, I snatch them because I remember getting them. I remember reading them. They mean everything to me.
Yeah, I mean that's actually that's actually like a little area of my collection that I feel like I would like to spend a little bit more time on. I've got some of the 90s keys, but definitely not even close to all of them. Especially when it comes to Marvel. But I guess I haven't spent as much time on it because there's just so many copies. I in hindsight, I probably should have, because like depending upon which key you're talking about, the prices are steadily rising. Maybe not at the same level as like bronze and silver and gold, but it just
One book that I think people should pick up, that I think one day will like explode, in my opinion, is Marvel Spotlight 5, first Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Because if the MCU does the Ghost Rider right, that book's gonna be ridiculous, So, but yeah, stuff like that, like. Sorry, kicked him. He's walking around the floor. I gotta.
I got a little robot vacuum running around my floor. Not a dog.
Love it. I need one of those, man. How do they work? Good?
Yeah, they're decent. I mean, if they get stuck, you gotta,
it's over.
That's over. But like, it depends on how you have like your room set up, like whether it really makes sense or not. Cool. What kind of carpet you got and all that. But like, that does a decent job.
I'm gonna hit you up after the feed.
Do it.
Yeah, Biggie Shack saying here's I have some heaters hidden away. And brother, I definitely do, man. What
are you saving them for? Like the next unboxing match, or what? No,
okay, well, time out. Hold on. I got some sick books right here, and I decided I am saving them because I am going to destroy Discovery Bay. I am going to challenge him to a rematch, and I'm only going to open up silver CGC books that will blow his mind. All right. No, I had such a blast, man. I absolutely loved it. But no, I love to like just slowly share my stuff with the community. And it gives for good content, gives for great. I love Instagram. I love posting my books like on a daily basis.
I've been so lazy recently. I started posting again like over the past week or so, like a couple times. I just got to get back into the habit of it. Like I just lost momentum. You know?
I took a whole month hiatus, man. Like with the remodeling, I think I posted like 3 posts.
I definitely took a whole month hiatus when I was moving. So basically just disappeared.
You got to get fresh then. I'm fresh and ready to go, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like, slow content, good stuff. So, did we lose JP?
I don't know. Did we?
No, I'm here. I just had to step away for just a second.
That's cool.
All good.
So I turned my camera off. I did that. I'm back.
Yeah, I love McFarlane, man. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I love that poster, man. So, the 90s. I know there's so many 90s books, and I know they're not really worth that much, but I don't care, man. Like, love it.
Yeah, like when I see some 90s, but here's like I just like got this what's this called, Wolverine and Gambit book.
Oh,
heck like
yeah.
a 90s miniseries. Yes. I got this from Barbarian Kung Fu for like $2 or something like that.
Dude.
And then I got what else did I get here? I got this Warlock and the Infinity Watch for $1 from White Whale. I got this New Mutants 100 for $1. I got this Wolverine 50 for $1. Dude. So like when I see the dollar books from the 90s that appeal to my memories of back then, I'm getting them all day long. Like, I'm not trying to get 9/8s, but I'll just have it in my collection, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I still have all those books that I can read with my kids or myself. Like, I've got ASM up the wazoo from the 90s.
From the 90s, yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, Gambit, Uncanny X-Men 266. I own a raw copy, but I need that thing because Gambit's one of my favorite X-Men of all time, you know? Right. So just stuff like that. I kind of do that, you know?
I mean, well, yeah, like I picked this up.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that is my childhood.
Yes, dude.
So I had to have it. So it's kind of like, it's not worth, like I paid like 20-something bucks for this.
Yeah. It got hot for a minute with the third Batman movie, and then
it did, but it's not hot right now.
Yep. Yeah, man. Like that's a run that I own about 4 years ago now. 2015, I decided I need to get all of Night Quest, Nightfall, everything. So that's something that was so much fun, like going to different comic shops and finding the different issues I didn't have. And so I got all the tie-ins and everything, man. So.
And I don't have the space for that. Like, are you going back to the space thing?
Yep.
Space is not hard. Is not very easy to come by here in New York.
I saw it firsthand.
Yeah, it is not easy to let your collection snowball out of control.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
true.
Unless you want to pay for storage, like external storage locker situation, and that like mentally, I have an issue with the books being in somewhere else, like with like a padlock or something. I don't know. I don't see myself going that route.
Yeah.
That's definitely been a thing.
That's why I buy so many trade paperbacks and hardcovers these days, is because I could probably go get the single issues from like the back issue bins for XYZ run, but that takes up 12 spots in a short box, and I'm like, I don't know,
I got back into collecting in 2015 because I started hunting all the Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, Reign of Superman, Return of Superman books,
Yeah.
And it got me so passionate about comics again that's where it all came from right there. And then I went and got the runs I love, like all of Ghost Rider, all of the X-Men from the 90s, all of the ASM Todd McFarlane stuff from the 90s. Like I got them all back here, man. And then I started doing stuff like Avengers versus X-Men, some newer stuff. And then I started going into Civil War, and I realized, dude, you're going to run out of so much room. There's like no space for this at all.
Yeah.
And so I by Civil War, like I've got maybe 50 of the 125 books that are in that run.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, yeah.
So many tie-ins. It's like could you imagine doing a Civil War read through YouTube series?
Craziness.
Well, you get done in like 2027 if you started today.
Right. Exactly. That's how I started my videos, though, doing the Infinity Gauntlet run, because that's my favorite run of all time. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my old videos, but it was literally me going through the entire Infinity Gauntlet run, all of the Thanos Quest and the Silver Surfer books and the Doctor Strange and Hulk tie-ins, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, there's like still 70 books. I can't get to them, you know.
But yeah, there's so many tie-in stories on that one.
That is definitely something that like I've started thinking about. Is like narrowing how many books I have and getting rid of books that aren't things I want long term. Yeah. Like, because I have so many like partial runs of different things and random stuff, and it's like, no, some of that's just got to go. Because I want to really focus on Batman and Bat Family books, and then Spider-Man. And those, and maybe a few other things, like a few Justice League, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, Batman and Spider-Man and their associated characters is where I want to focus my collection.
It was so hard for me to get rid of all the books I did for my mystery box. Like, I took down all of these boxes, started going through them and saying, okay, these are huge keys. These are $100 books, $50 books, $75 books, $20 books, $10 books, 5, all the way to 1, right?
Yeah.
And I started compiling my mystery boxes, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. I can't get rid of this book. No, I can't do that. I can't. Like, it was so, and I kept taking books out. I'm like, I can't give this one away. And then I kept thinking, man.
Like, I know what you mean, man. Like, I think between last year and this year, I think I sold like 40, somewhere between 40 and 50 of my slabs.
Yeah. I remember
a lot of moderns, but also some Silver Age books and some Bronze Age books where it's like I had to make, the tough call where it's like I do actually feel like strongly about this book, but I don't feel so strongly about it where I wouldn't rather take the proceeds from that book and put it into something that I do feel more strongly about. Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
It's true. Yeah. It's true, man. I mean, I had like 7 copies of ASM 252.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, because I remember collecting them. I remember where I got it from. You know what I'm saying? And just,
dude,
Nova ones and
I only have one. I only ever had one copy of that book, and I gave it away in my 250 subscriber contest. It's, sitting in Mr. Miracle's place now.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a book that would be on my list of like smaller keys eventually to get to. I just it hasn't made it to the top of the list yet.
You know, I know I want that book back in my collection, but
I liked it so much. You know what I did?
Of course, you got a 9.8.
That's right. Because Venom is my favorite villain in Thanos, and so like I want that whole Black Spidey suit run. So there's still 2 more I need. Team Up 144 and Spectacular. No, wait, what is it? Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man 90. I need those 2 in a 9.8, but I got the rest of them.
Yeah.
Nice.
And because I was able to sell all my raw copies.
Right.
And then turn it around and get that one. I mean, it was worth it, man. So JP, if you find that you're like, okay, it's time, do it, man, and then focus all that money on something good.
Can't really sum it up any better than that.
No. Well, folks, we've been going. We're a little over an hour at this point. You guys got anything you want to pitch that's coming up or let everybody know about?
No. I mean, besides our own show that we
do. No, nothing going
on. Which is what, next Monday?
Next Monday is the plan. So
on your channel. So
that's correct, and we'll be doing Death in the Family.
Classic.
Oh yeah, that is my jam right there.
We are still looking for someone to join us,
dude. Let me know.
So if you want in, you can tell us right now, man. We're looking for a guest.
Let me check with the wife because we literally had a conversation.
To clarify, we're just covering the 4-issue story, right? We're not covering like the post stuff that happened afterwards.
I was just playing on the 4-issue. These stories.
A lot of the trade paperbacks include like 4 other issues from from Teen Titans and all this other stuff to show like how.
Oh yeah, it does have the Teen Titans stuff. I didn't even look at this.
Yeah, I mean they're good. Those are good reads too. But yeah, I got the same one.
Man.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So no, I think we're just do the 4, and then
Got it.
go from there.
Nice.
Jim Starlin.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Oh wow, nice.
I had Jim Starlin sign an Infinity Gauntlet at Vegas Comic Con in not this year but last year. He's a great dude.
When I saw him in Endgame, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Jim
Yeah.
Starlin!" And everyone looks at me like, "Shut up, dude." I'm like,
Plus, it's a Russo brother and it's Jim
yes,
Starlin.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I got a cool idea.
Okay.
So
Dang it. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna divulge it here, but I'm gonna hit you guys up for a really neat show that I want to start. And everyone in the chat, stay tuned, man. That mystery, not mystery, that unboxing match with the Discovery Bay.
Yeah.
And we got my mind.
Later, Biggie.
So later, guys.
Later, Baggy.
But yeah, something I want to do, something that's been turning in my mind. So
I'm all ears.
yeah, it'll be fun.
We'll talk later. Obviously, like I said, we have next Monday, Death in the Family. It'll be. Is it my turn?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I cut you off. My bad.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, that's okay. And then Saturday, I'll have my look back again. And then at some point in the next week, and I want to talk to a few people. I think Hialeah is going to join me. And anybody else that's interested, hit me up. I'm going to do next weekend represents exactly 6 months since I started doing the look back.
Cool.
So I want to do like a live discussion of what we've learned from those look backs. And so hopefully have 2 or 3 people on at least and do that. Not sure when we're going to do that just yet. So.
Oh, and I gotta plug this because I always do a bad job at plugging this. But there's a whole channel called Direct Edition Squad. We haven't done the show in like 2 weeks, but we will be doing it next weekend again. It's the show we do a weekly show Sunday nights. Myself, Bake the Snake, Jeffrey Comic Con Henson.
Dude, I didn't even know.
Soldier only, Fuchsia only. We only have 60 subscribers or something on that channel, and we've done like 12 episodes of that show, and it's a great show. It's a lot of fun. Not just about comic books. It's about TV, movies, video games, food. I mean, we frankly, we spend more time talking about non-comic book stuff than comic book stuff, but comic book stuff does
food.
also.
You guys spend more time talking about food.
Yeah, we do like talking about food. But comic books do enter the equation on that channel every once in a while. So just thought I'd mention it. If you haven't checked us out over there, it's Direct Edition Squad is the name of the channel. So
I didn't
please.
even know about it, dude. When did you start this?
Months ago.
I didn't know about this.
We only have 58 subscribers here. I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, please.
Lady Fantastic is asking about it. So.
Links in the chat. Direct Edition Squad. So check us out Sunday nights. We're on at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
59 now, bro.
Every Sunday night. So thank you. 59. There you go. But yeah, it's a fun time. And so I'm hoping more people will get turned on to it.
Cool.
All right. Matt, you got
You know what?
anything else coming up that you and Thanatos doing a Willpower Unleashed now that he's back yet, or not?
Yeah,
sure?
so we're gonna touch base and probably try to get our next episode next week. I got my best friend coming into town. I haven't seen him for a while, so we're gonna hang out the rest of this week, and I'll drop a few videos. Probably he wants to record one with me, so he can show his daughters back home. He's on YouTube, so I'm excited about that. But the rest of my stuff this week will all be stuff I've previously recorded, and I just put it on, you know. But hopefully next week, Willpower Unleashed, Amateur Hour. John and I are going to get back at doing that as well. So, but nothing set.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I think we still got 11 in the chat at the moment. So thank you guys. I want to thank Boyhood 7, Matt, and Kavi, Comic Books NYC, for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me. Let me crash.
And we will catch everyone next time. Later.
Later, guys.